Elevation sections tool, actually if you click on this it's going to want to roll into the next one, which is creating the lanes and then doing the calcs. Well, let's just go ahead and do that. So we're going to do the southbound side. I'm going to click here. Wants to know a name, southbound section. What geometry, reference element. Okay. And again, I want to do the whole thing, and we're going from south to north. But I'm going to hit Alt. That'll lock it down at the beginning, and I'll hit Alt. It'll lock it at the end. Minimum tangent length. If there's two curves and they are farther apart than the minimum tangent length, it will create separate sections for each. In this case, it only does one. Okay. It's actually rolled over now into the second tool, which is creating the lanes. So this section is a container for multiple lanes. We are going to be southbound lanes, which is 2 lanes. It's the primary pavement on the travelway. So I'm going to hit data button for that. Is primary, meaning there'll be math in there. It is to the left side. Since it's going from south to north, it's on the left side of the road there. That's important because if the curve is to the right, that means it's on the outside of the curve and it'll be superelevating up. So it is on the left side. Inside edge, in this case, is 0. The width, okay, do not get hung up on the width. It is simply a width for the shape. It does not tie in automatically to the templates or anything like that. It's just how wide you want this shape to be. Okay, it doesn't have to match up with the edge of pavement. It does no searching. Okay. And the nominal cross slope is -2%. There we go. All right, and if I zoom in, I can see I've got a slope in there. So I have one shape. I'm going to throw in the southbound because I have different super elevations going on at different times, different cross slopes at different stations. I'm going to do southbound outside shoulder. It's also going to have math in it, so it's going to be a primary. It's still to the left side. Inside edge offset, it needs to be to the outside of that shape, so I can go coincident with it, 24. I can go further out. The width, 7.2, no, 10 is the actual width of the shoulder, but that doesn't matter. So I'll make it 24 just to show you that it doesn't matter, and also so that shape is actually more visible from a distance. Doesn't matter. The sequence from inside to outside does matter, but the actual widths, don't get hung up on that. Also, the cross slope of the starting cross slope, the nominal cross slope for the shoulder is -5%. Okay, so you can see I've got two shapes in there. They're different colors. Now the tool's continuing asking for another lane, but I'm going to right click and then it goes into the third one. So if I have some lanes out there and I don't have calcs, I can go directly into that calculate super elevation. I'm going to do that here. Okay. So standards file, there's a bunch, SEPs or SRLs, whatever our your agency requires, you would pick. We're going to pick the English 2011 SEP. And I think we're doing 8%, 75 miles per hour. These are different sections in that file. Might be something different, but regardless. 2 lanes, 4 lanes. This is 2 lanes. Okay, design speed 75, that comes from that. Number of lanes 2, it's divided. Open editor, just opens the editor when you're done. But basically I'm going to data button to accept. Data button, data button, data button, data button. Let me zoom out a little bit. So you'll see it change color when the calcs. The color is directly linked to the, you see, it's no longer green. White in there means it's about 0. Here's the super elevation editor. So I have, this is my edge of pavement. It starts at -2%, super elevates up to, well, I don't know what that is. It says here 2.6%. This is my shoulder, and it starts at -5%. Matches. The slopes are coplanar there. Okay, so that's the southbound. We have the southbound done, so I'm going to go and do the northbound now. Okay, so the northbound section. Reference element is the control line there. Again, I'm going to go from beginning to end using the Alt to lock it. Okay, minimum tangent length 500. It's going to exceed that, so you can see it created 2. There's a 2 different sections for the northbound. Lanes, time for the lanes. So I'm going to say northbound. travel lanes. It is to the right of the center line, so as we curve to the right, that means it's going down. So up arrow got us there. It's adjacent to the control, so I'll put 0 in. Don't freak out, but even though our nominal lane width is 24, I'm going to throw like 80 in here just to show you that it doesn't matter. It's a lot more visible this way. Nominal cross slope is negative 2%. Again, I'm deviating from the book a little. This is the northbound outside shoulder. It's to the right side. I ended at 80 before, and I'll make the width 80. Normal cross slope is negative 5%. So again, this doesn't have any effect on the end result, the widths, but you can see it's a lot easier to see. Alright, so I'm done with my lanes here, and it's going to roll over into the calculations. It's going to remember everything we did from the previous, so I can just data button, data button, data button, data button, data button, data button, data button. Okay, it's going to calc, and real quick you can see I've got some super elevation going on here. Notice because I have two different sections, northbound section 1, northbound section 2, it's only showing in the diagram one section at a time. Okay. But you can see, so this is where I'm at 2%, negative 2%, it goes down to negative 8%, is that right? Yep. So there is my travel lane, there is my shoulder. Okay, everything looks good. Okay, so as of now, we don't have any super elevation applied to the corridor. The only thing we have now is a shape. Okay. These shapes have the math in them. I'm going to do a couple things for review. So I'm going to do some review now. The next step, really, from the engineering standpoint, is to go ahead and apply this to the corridor. Before I move forward, I want to go ahead and I want to do a little bit of review. Okay, so first of all, I have 4 shapes in here. I've got sections. I'm going to open up element info, and you can see, so my southbound section has got the southbound lanes and the southbound shoulder in it. Okay, so you can see this is all the information I threw in there before. I can change things, and there are my actual calculated transitions. Okay, over here, so on this is my northbound outside shoulder. That's the lane. If I were to grab the section, you can see that the lanes are in them. But basically all that math, all that stuff is stored in the DGN. It's not stored in an IRD file. It's not stored in some binary file outside the design file. It's here in the design file. Everything's in the DGN. Okay, so you can do review on this. You can, okay, if you started with your nominal cross slope incorrectly, the end result of all that stuff we did are simply shapes in the design file. I can run a report here. If you want a tabular report, you can also send this to, let's see, let's grab that, let's grab that, let's grab that. So that's all 3. Reset to complete. Here is super elevation report. Okay, you can do a save as, file save as, and that'll get it to an XML report. So if you need to get profiles in, super elevation diagrams in the profile, there is a process to do that with the XML file. Okay, there is a video on that in the Open Roads wiki. Okay, so there you go. So there is your report. So if you need some hard copies of what's going on there, a number of different reports are available.